We're going to talk about the Hillary Clinton book. Yes, Hillary's book is out. It's coming out Tuesday. Ken Jeffries, our co-host. I got to ask you, are you going to be reading Hillary's book?
No.
No? Well, I've already ordered it on Amazon. I want to hear her say the words. She's actually narrating it.
You did order it?
I listen to books on Audible, and when you order it early, what they say is, it's not available now, but, give us your money, and we'll give it to you on... I think they...
Do you get to hear her cry on it or something, or what?
I don't know.
I've heard enough excerpts that I don't think so. Maybe my wife may get it. I have no idea. But, we know what happened. What's the name of the book? What Happened or something?
Yeah, what happened? What a clever title.
Well, we know what happened.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly right. So we're going to get into the Hillary book. We're also going to get into the Manson parole story. And, of course, Leslie Van Houten. After how many years has it been? It's 48 years,
well, 19 murders were in 69.
Yeah, so it's around 48 years. And so she's the very first one of all the ones. We're also going to talk about the DACA case, the Dreamers. A lot of people think maybe Trump is going soft because he keeps saying, I love the Dreamers. They got nothing to worry about. It's all going to work out. So we're going to get into all
a lot of interesting
stories.
Political machinations with that, too, regarding going to Democrats for getting their support for DACA. I mean, behind the scenes and all this other stuff, and with the budget, regarding not shutting down the federal government and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Hurricane
right.
aid, yeah.
And Engineer Jose, we're going to get into some bizarre stories as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, the worst Tinder date ever, okay? It's on record now. Absolutely, Ken Jeffries, you're going to agree. This is the worst. I know you've been on plenty of Tinder date.
Or
Grindr. Maybe you focus more on
No,
Grindr?
I don't do Grindr. No.
It's just what I heard.
I have to check with my wife first on any of this stuff, yeah.
In addition, we're going to be talking about how they're going to go topless in Berkeley. Berkeley is very serious about saying, you know what, it's discriminatory. Why should guys be able to walk around without shirts and not women? So
there was a free the nipple thing, wasn't there, or something like that?
Yes, it's going to be all topless all the time up in Berkeley. We're also going to talk about a story involving a couple of dogs who were barking so much. People they went to court and they said, Judge, these dogs have been barking incessantly. You're not going to believe what the judge did in response to this argument by the neighbors. It's a stunning decision. So we're going to get into all of that on the Royal Oak Show. And folks, you can be part of this if you'd like to call. We'll get you on the air. It's 818-818-6401. That's 818-818-6401. Or if you would like to tweet, Engineer Jose will get your tweet and we'll get it on the air. It's at CRN Digital Talk. That's at CRN Digital Talk here on the Royal Oak Show. So stick with us. When we come back, we're going to get into the Hillary Clinton book, and I think I'm going to be able to convince Ken Jeffries that he really ought to listen to Hillary's book. So stick with us on the Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show.
Hey Lorraine, do you realize that your mother, my mother-in-law, Chef Maria, has been serving Las Vegas since 1949?
Yes, I do, Dennis. That's when she first met Howard Hughes, who fell in love with her cooking.
And in 1955, she opened her first restaurant on Fremont Street.
Yes, dear. And another great customer was Liberace.
Wow. Then in 1962, while Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack were causing global excitement on the Las Vegas Strip, your family opened their second restaurant.
And in 1972, Elvis Presley began electrifying Las Vegas audiences and eating in our restaurants.
You know, Lorraine, this is quite a town. There's only one Las Vegas.
And there's only one Bootlegger Italian Bistro.
Folks, when you're in Las Vegas, come visit us. We'll make you feel like you're part of our family.
The Bootlegger Italian Bistro, conveniently located at 7700 Las Vegas Boulevard, South Strip. Visit our website at www.bootleggerlasvegas.com.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries. And Ken, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but as an old rock and roll disc jockey, you put a lot of years in spinning the wax.
Many wax, stacks of wax, mounds of sounds.
Exactly, yeah. And so you really ought to be able to identify. Put it up a little bit, Jose.
What is it again?
Give Ken a chance.
What is it?
Well, that's the question. What is it? Okay.
I forget too what it is.
Okay, I'm going to give you a hint.
I don't know what
did you like Breaking Bad?
I
Bryan
never
Cranston's
saw the show. I've
Okay.
heard about it. I know what
If
it is.
you never saw
I
the
know-
show, then you never saw the finale to the show. Am I working with logic
Yeah,
here?
yeah,
so you
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
see the finale. In the last scene of the last show of this groundbreaking, iconic TV show, this song, "Baby Blue" by Badfinger.
Bradford.
It was just, and it's so evocative. If you were a fan of the show, it all came together. Crystal Blue, methamphetamine,
Right.
Baby Blue. It was marvelous.
They did Day After Day as well. I think they were
Yeah,
the big hit, right?
exactly.
They did something else too. I can't remember.
And they sounded a lot like the Beatles. People compared them to the Beatles. It had a really rich, great sound. So anyway, well, you can't get them all. We're going to
Can't
have
get 'em all,
We're going to
no,
have more
no,
bumper
no,
music
no,
for you
no,
to
no,
make
no.
a comeback on. So, ladies and gentlemen, Hillary Clinton is writing a book that some of the Democrats aren't excited and happy about it because they think it's just going to sort of be a distraction instead of beating up on Trump for some reason. Oh, we have to relive the election from last year. So the book she's coming out with is called What Happened. It's coming out Tuesday, and she really goes after James Comey. She said basically he's the guy that took the election away from her. He accused her of acting recklessly and using the private email account when he had this weird press conference back in July. And it was strange. I mean, you're a
Yeah, I saw it.
newsman, Ken Jeffries.
I heard-
Didn't you
I
think
saw
that
it.
was kind of odd for the FBI director to come out, give a press conference about an investigation, and talk about all this
Yeah.
stuff when the punchline was he wasn't recommending prosecution, and either way,
No
however-
prosecutor in his right mind would prosecute. I think that's kind of what he said. at the end.
Yeah. So she said, actually in the book, she says her first instinct was that her campaign should hit back and explain that Comey had really overstepped his bounds. But she talked to her advisors and they said, oh no, just let it go. And she says, looking back, that was a big mistake. She tries to blame a lot of other people, of course. She actually blames President Obama in part. For the problems. She thinks she should have been supported more by Obama. And it's going to be interesting to see whether people really want to relive this when it was kind of traumatic for everybody last year.
I'm kind of sick of it already. I really am. And I think the one person she ought to look at is the one in the mirror. And I think she would have made a good president, quite frankly. But she made mistakes. She didn't go to Michigan. She didn't go to Wisconsin.
Right.
She didn't do it. And she thought she had it wrapped up. And she blames a lot of it in the book, from what I understand through the excerpts, on Bernie Sanders, for instance.
Yes.
And you gotta finally say it's my fault, or why even come out with a book? I mean, this is what I don't. Maybe for the money, maybe for the advance, whatever. And I'm sure there are people out there who will read it and still love Hillary and everything. But a lot of this was her fault. And she didn't. Maybe she didn't take responsibility. Or doesn't want to.
And I think you're speaking for most people.
But doesn't care. Go away. It's like.
But she.
I don't want her to. I shouldn't say that. I don't want her to go away. She's part of the overall political discussion, I guess. But it's. Bill Maher said it the other night. Move on.
Well,
And,
she ain't moving on because she not only has come out with a book, she's going to be on the book tour. She's going to be on every show. In the book, she recounts getting the news a couple of weeks before the election day that Comey had then told Congress, all right, the FBI is going to reopen the email investigation after discovering emails from her on a laptop belonging to Anthony Weiner.
Right, I remember that. Yeah.
And so her aide, Huma Abedin, married to
Yeah, I
Weiner,
remember
said,
her, yeah.
this man is going to be the death of me, and probably the death of Hillary's career and Huma's career as well. And then she started crying in front of her boss, so we're going to hear that emotional story in the book. The news media, I didn't realize this, that the news media, the New York Times in particular, comes in for scathing criticism by Hillary for covering the email saga, in her opinion, obsessively, while basically ignoring evidence of links between Donald Trump and Russia. So I didn't realize there was going to be kind of a feud between.
I didn't know she said that in the book yet, but that's it's her opinion. Okay.
And on Bernie, you mentioned Bernie Sanders. In the book, she disparaged Bernie Sanders as disruptive and hopelessly unrealistic in his proposals, and she criticizes President Barack Obama for urging her not to attack Bernie during the primary. She says, "I felt like I was in a straitjacket." Of course, if it matched her pantsuit, it probably would be okay.
You're here all week. Don't try the veal. Yeah.
That's That's right.
Don't forget to tip your waitress.
She said she made a connection between Obama and what she called her biggest gaffe of the campaign, telling voters in Ohio, we're going to put a lot of coal miners and coal companies out of business. She insisted the line was taken out of context, but said Mr. Obama had fed the narrative of Democratic hostility toward miners. Can you believe it? This incredibly stupid thing that she does, basically saying, yippee, we're going to put a bunch of these poor coal miners out of a job, and she blames it on President Obama.
It doesn't matter anymore, of course, but it's like, just don't do it. It's too bad you lost the election, and like I say, I think she would have been a good president.
My favorite,
but it didn't happen.
My favorite Hillary moment, Ken Jeffries, was I think it was in an earlier book when she said, people ask me about my name. Well, I was actually named after Sir Edmund Hillary, who was the first person to conquer Everest. He was the mountain climber.
Okay.
And so people did a little fact-checking, and they realized, that's interesting. Now, Hillary was born in 1946. Sir Edmund Hillary climbed Everest in 1953, 7 years later, and then they looked further and they realized Edmund Hillary, before he was knighted Sir, in 1946, he was a sheep herder in New Zealand.
Well, maybe she was.
So maybe her parents somehow admired an unknown sheep herder in New
you never
Zealand.
know. Maybe they had ESPN. I'm
named Royal. I think my parents were a big fan of King Edward.
How did you get that name, Royal? That would make for a whole show.
Unfortunately, there's no great story. My father's family had a friend in Illinois where my dad grew up, and his name was Royal, and he was a swell guy, and so they named me after him.
Guy.
Now, my middle name, of course, Forrest, it does have a better.
Yeah, people don't know that.
basis.
His middle name is Forrest, which is very interesting.
Well, it's family name because my grandfather was Forrest Oakes, believe it or not, a farmer in Illinois, and
not Forrest Gump. Obviously.
No, I don't think so.
So Forrest, it sounds like a cemetery. I'm sorry to tell you. Oh, she's buried in Forest Oaks.
It's everything. It's a motel in Sherman Oaks. It's a convalescent home in Duarte. So I got that going for me. So getting back to Hillary, she says, I was running a traditional presidential campaign with carefully thought out policies and painstakingly built coalitions, while Trump was running a reality show that expertly and relentlessly stoked Americans' anger and resentment. Now, this gets back to your point. Do Americans really want to hear her whine about why she lost? Is this book going to sell? I can't resist. I want to hear her narrate it.
Well, so probably then that's why she's doing it. There's money in it, I think, and there's some interest in it, I think, and she'll be booked on the talk shows, I'm sure, and I'm sure she is already or going to be, and that's why.
And so in the New York Times reporting here, it says, in sorting through the reasons for her defeat, Mrs. Clinton returns over and over to a single explanation: her gender. She says 3 of her arch enemies during the campaign were unapologetic misogynists: Mr. Trump, Mr. Putin, and Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we somehow, I'm not going to tell you how we did it, we got an advance copy of her book. I'm going to read a paragraph when we come back on The Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with The Royal Oak Show. You're experiencing pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, or hand pain from a sports injury. If so, schedule a visit with Dr. Michael Sheps, the leading expert in laser therapy for pain management. Call 310-873-4422 or go to drsheps.com. Experience Epic T, the breakthrough laser therapy system that Dr. Sheps developed to make you pain-free in less time. Laser therapy is a non-invasive, safe, and effective in-office procedure that penetrates deep into your skin without damaging the tissue. It perfectly targets areas of pain to promote fast, natural healing. Relax your muscles, ease muscle spasms, joint stiffness, and arthritis pain while increasing blood circulation. For over 25 years, Dr. Sheps has helped Olympic athletes and sports enthusiasts alike get back in the game. Schedule your visit with Dr. Sheps at his Brentwood office in California. Call 310-873-4422 or visit drsheps.com. That's DRSHEPS.com, 310-873-4422.
If you're eligible for Medicare, you need to know there is money available to you that can lower your Medicare prescription costs. How much can you save? Find out now by making a free call to Health Markets. They'll search from a variety of nationally recognized plans to find you the right coverage at a price that fits your budget. And they'll do all this valuable research for you at no charge to you. And remember, you may be able to save money on your prescriptions. We'll tell you if you qualify. Why pay a penny more than you have to for an insurance policy? Let us find you the right plan at the right price and see if you qualify to lower your prescription costs. Put our free service to work for you at no charge. Call Health Markets right now.
800-990-0351. 800-990-0351. 800-990-0351. That's 800-990-0351.
Health Markets Insurance Agency is the DBA of InSphere Insurance Solutions, Inc., licensed in all 50 states and D.C. Service and product availability varies by state. Agents may be compensated based on your enrollment.
Experience the romantic getaway you deserve at Maui's premier bed and breakfast, the Plantation Inn. With plantation-style architecture and decor combined with modern amenities such as dual rain showers and whirlpool hot tubs, guests relax in a tranquil oasis in the heart of Maui's historic Lahaina town. The inn is situated conveniently less than 2 blocks from Lahaina Harbor, as well as the famous French Street, known for its range of shops, restaurants, gallery walks, and museums. The Plantation Inn is home to Gerard's Restaurant, voted Open Table's top most romantic restaurants in North America. Chef Gerard's contemporary island French cuisine consistently earns some of the highest ratings in Hawaii. Come discover why Hawaii Magazine readers named the Plantation Inn #1 best bed and breakfast in Hawaii. Visit theplantationinn.com or call us at 667-9225.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show with our co-host Ken Jeffries.
Hello there.
And Ken, being the musicologist that he is, I bet you can identify this song that's playing us back on the air
You
here.
stumped me again.
Oh, this is a pretty popular one. A couple of years ago,
Is it Taylor Swift?
No, it's not Taylor Swift. Probably 100 million views on YouTube of this song. Amazing
Carly
video.
Rae Jepsen?
Yes, Carly Rae Jepsen. Now
Call Me Maybe.
Call Me Maybe. Very good.
I was going to go up to her one day and say, hey, Carly, maybe. Okay, I called you maybe. Okay, there you go.
So we're talking about Hillary Clinton's
Me
book.
Maybe.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can go out and buy it on Tuesday. You can download it and listen to it in her own voice. What Happened is the name of the book. And one of the most interesting parts about it is, remember that weird debate where Trump was kind of walking around behind her like a shark, and Alec Baldwin had so much fun with it on Saturday Night Live. You know, he's creeping up behind her. And so she says in the book, she said, I really considered saying, back up, you creep, get away from me, when he hovered behind her during one of the debates. But she didn't do it.
And she should have.
She should have. It would have been a good moment.
It would have been great. It would have been great. And she should have, again, shoulda, coulda. Maybe the book should have been called Shoulda, Coulda, Woulda. because that's what this is.
You're going to love this line. She says, I considered, she said, you got to give it to Trump. He's hateful, but it's hard to look away from him. Kind of like a car wreck where 17 nuns are killed.
Hard to look away.
She says, and in a passage that will sadden her supporters as much as it satisfies her critics, Mrs. Clinton grappled with her limitations as a candidate and the hatred she generated among Republicans. Quote, what makes me such a lightning rod for fury? I'm really asking. I'm at a loss. So maybe she'll find out in 4 years again. I wouldn't be surprised if she still wants to run.
You know what? I think you're right, and it'd be a bad idea, but it would. But I think you're right. I think she might try again.
She may not be able to resist.
She may try.
Okay,
again.
now I promised this, folks, and I'm going to deliver on my promise. You will not believe what you're about to hear. We have an advance copy. This is just a part of one page of her book. Okay, now the background is she was into really scientific algorithms and the surveys. Everything was just driven by the analytics, as they called it. And her campaign manager.
It's kind of like the Dodgers.
Exactly.
Sure,
right.
And they're driven by analytics, but
worked great for a while.
It hasn't worked for them in the last 2 weeks.
So Robbie Mook was the brains behind that. He was this young, scientific guy. So here's the excerpt from her book. The night before the Oklahoma rally, I met with my campaign manager, Robbie Mook. Robbie was in charge of the campaign computers, but he was so smart that in many ways he was like a computer. He had bad news. Oklahomans see you as an aloof New York intellectual, he explained. They'll never vote for someone like that. You need an image they can understand and respect. What if I ate a big hunk of beef on stage, I helpfully suggested. We need to think bigger, said Robbie. I've consulted the algorithm. It told me Oklahomans love cowboys. I liked where this was going. It also told me that what they hate most is cattle rustlers. Robbie, you're a genius, I said. We spent that night crafting my new persona, a persona we believed would win me the election. The next day, I sauntered onto an Oklahoma stage wearing a full cowboy outfit, firing a pair of six-shooters in the air. Howdy, I said to the crowd, I'm Sheriff Hillary. I got the biggest applause of my whole career. If there's one thing I hate, I announced, it's varmints, and the worst varmints of all are cattle rustlers. Make me your president, and I'll put a bullet between the eyes of every rustler in the state. For emphasis, I bit a chunk out of a hunk of beef. Now, that's the excerpt from Hillary's book.
Yeah, that's the...
Now, the thing is, I have to tell the truth, Ken, that's not actually from her book. It's from a site called Pixelated Boat. It's on Twitter. If you go to Pixelated Boat, you're going to see it's a comedian.
Pixelated Boat?
B-O-A-T. Yeah, as in floats, it floats his boat. And so people are having fun with her book. They're having fun with the fact that she was obsessed with the analytics and so on.
She should have done it, by the way.
Yeah. Maybe that would have...
At very least, she should have turned around to Trump, seriously, during the debate and said not maybe back off, you so-and-so, or whatever it is, but... just stared at him and said, "Excuse me, do you mind?"
Exactly right.
Seriously, and that would have, I think, that would have scored her some, but I don't know. I'm not a political analyst. I don't play one on TV.
You're absolutely right, though, because the big moments in presidential debates are ones where people do kind of shocking things. I mean, a vice presidential debate when Lloyd Bentsen was going up against Dan Quayle, the VP for George Bush. I mean, people are still talking about the fact.
Jack Kennedy.
Exactly. They were talking about Quayle's age, and Quayle was saying, well, John Kennedy was the same age I am. And Bentsen just reamed him. He said, John Kennedy was a friend of mine. I knew John Kennedy. You're no John Kennedy.
Of course, it wasn't enough for him and Dukakis to. Was it Dukakis, right? Was the top of the ticket?
Well,
to win the election.
Yeah, actually, in that case, Dukakis. Of course, he had his own moments.
Yes,
he was asked, "What would happen if your wife Kitty were raped and murdered? Right. Then would you support capital punishment?" And I was there at the debate at Pauley Pavilion that night. He was so clinical and he was so cold, and he said, "Well, I still wouldn't support capital punishment, for all the technical reasons." So, and people again still cite that decades later as being such a bloodless response. Hey, folks, we're going to talk about the Manson parole case. Stay with us on the Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show. CRN listeners, when you come to Southern California, stop by a great restaurant, the Dresden Restaurant at 1760 North Vermont Avenue in Hollywood. Enjoy great entertainment, like the music of the legendary Marty and Elaine at the world-famous Dresden Restaurant. The Dresden was a location for the making of the movie Swingers. Now you can swing with stars Marty and Elaine. Plus, enjoy great food, too, like French onion soup, artichoke hearts, and many other great appetizers. Seafood, there's salmon, shrimp scampi, New Zealand orange roughy, halibut, Lake Superior whitefish, and specialties like veal marsala, piccata, and parmigiana. Plus, we've got a great roast rack of lamb, chicken piccata, and cordon bleu, and pasta dishes, too. Steaks, filet, New York, Chateaubriand for two. Much more, too, including pork chops, prime rib of beef, and an incredibly extra large cut of prime rib. It's the Dresden Restaurant, open for lunch Monday through Saturday and dinner Monday through Sunday. Check us out at 1760 North Vermont Avenue or call 323-665-4294.
Mortgage rates are at all-time lows. If you have not refinanced your current mortgage in the last few years, you could be losing thousands of dollars a year by paying too high of an APR. And the place to call is LendingTree to find out how low you can go. We can match you with lenders offering some of the lowest rates APRs available. Some APRs are lower than 3%. Imagine how much money you can save every month if your current mortgage is at 6% or higher. And all it takes is one free call to LendingTree to match you with a lender who may be able to lower your current home mortgage rate. Learn how to potentially save thousands by refinancing your current mortgage. Call LendingTree right now. NMLS 1136.
800-628-5067. 800-628-5067. 800-628-5067. That's 800-628-5067. Take a look inside your personal mirror. Are you living your most amazing life possible? Are you feeling stuck, miserable, or unsure? You don't have to settle. Nothing is more important than your life. It's yours. You only have one, and you deserve to make the most of it. Help is just a phone call away. You now have your own personal, psychic, intuitive life coach. Got a question on your financial situation, your job, having a love or relationship issue you need help with? Do you want to explore your destiny and life path? Our gifted, intuitive psychic coaches can identify root issues, access your key problems, and formulate a plan to help you move confidently in the direction of your dreams. Live an amazing life now. Everyone needs someone to talk to. Call the Psychic Life Helpline today. 800-659-1091. 800-659-1091. 800-659-1091. That's 800-659-1091.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. Our co-host Ken Jeffries, a former disc jockey. This shouldn't be too tough for you to guess this one.
I used to play the song on there. Now I'm trying to give me just a little more time.
Yeah.
But then I like to go.
That's near the end.
Now I'm trying to remember who did it.
See, that's the challenge. See, this is a two-parter.
I was going to say, and I don't know. The only thing I can think of is the Friends of Distinction.
No,
and I'm wrong, and I know I'm wrong.
I have to say, we gave you a little advantage because the very first words out of the lead singer's mouth.
The title of the song.
Yeah, the title of the song. Give me just a little more time.
Is it a single? Is it a? Wait a minute. I know we only have just less than a half hour. I don't want to waste all the time on this. Is it a guy or a group?
It's a group.
It's a group. It could be the Spinners. It's not the Temptations. It's not the Four Tops.
It's not the Weavers.
It's not the Weavers.
It's not the Weavers. No, it's not the Mills Brothers.
Not the Ink Spots.
Jose is trying to give you a hint. He's
with?
pointing at this object we're sitting in.
It's the chair. Oh, the chairman of the board.
Chairman of the board.
Chairman of the board.
Thank you, Jose. With hardly any help at all.
The chairman of the board.
So we're talking.
That was Frank Sinatra, though, wasn't he? The chairman of the board.
Exactly. Speaking of the '60s to '70s, we want to talk about the Charles Manson parole case. And Ken, we can maybe just recap for a few people who perhaps didn't live through the '60s. Charles Manson. Everybody has heard. Weird, crazy, a murderer, still in prison. This guy was so nuts. He actually operated very close to where we are. We're here in the San Fernando Valley. He went to a place called the Spahn Ranch in Chatsworth.
Just a few miles away from
exactly.
The
and so what this guy and his followers did, and he was this charismatic, weird, Svengali kind of guy. He had all these women around him and guys too. And an old man named Spahn owned the ranch, and he was nearly blind. They plied him with women and drugs, and basically they were able to have the run of his ranch. And Charles Manson used it as a base for his craziness. He heard about this concept of Helter Skelter, Beatles song, and he thought there was going to be a race war. Right. And he thought that the blacks were going to kill the whites and vice versa, and Charlie and his group were going to go out into an underground hole in Death Valley and emerge after everybody killed each other, and they would be the leaders. And so to start the race war, he sent his crazy followers out to kill people. One night, he sent his followers out to the home of Doris Day's son. He thought it was Doris Day's son.
Terry Melcher, I think, was
exactly.
his name, right?
So Melcher had moved out of the home, which Charlie didn't know, but he said, go to 1313 Mockingbird Lane, whatever that address was, right. And Tex Watson and some other people went, and they stabbed Sharon Tate, pregnant, to death. They stabbed the Folger heiress and Sebring and these other folks.
Right.
The next night, he sent a different killing crew, Leslie Van Houten and some others, to Los Feliz, Los Feliz, where Leno and Rosemary LaBianca lived. And so these people invade the home, tie them up, stab them. Leslie Van Houten, age 19, she'd been a beauty queen, a homecoming queen, a prom queen, and so on. And she turned into this killer. She admitted stabbing the LaBiancas 14 times, and so they were sentenced to death. But the California Supreme Court said, "Oh no, we're gonna cancel out the death penalty," and as a result, it got changed to life in prison. So what happens is she's gone in for parole 21 times every few years over the last 48 years. She's gone in for parole. Every time she gets turned down, except last year. The board said, okay, we'll finally let you out. But Governor Brown, as you know, I'm sure you reported this on KABC.
Yeah, we did.
He said, no, I'm not going to let her out after all. I don't have an explanation as to how she went from homecoming queen to ruthless killer. I think she's a danger to society. You know, she admitted stabbing this woman 14 times. Does she really deserve to walk the streets? And so Brown said no. Well, now, a year later, just the other day, this week, the parole board once again says, well, we think she ought to be let out. And one of the things, Ken Jeffries, that they may have relied on is there was a witness who said, well, Leslie was threatened. She thought she'd be killed if she left the cult. And, you know, I'm prepared to believe that. Of course, they could have and should have raised it at the trial. To raise it 50 years later as an excuse seems a little strange.
A little late.
So now the question is it going to be enough for the governor? You think the governor is going to say, well, not last year, but this year I'll let her out?
No.
Yeah, I don't think he is either.
No, I don't. There's no reason to. I mean, and then all of a sudden, you know, Tex Watson, is he still around? You know, some of the others might say, you know, hey, let us out. And
yeah, and it's so unfair to the families of the victims. They have to troop up to, you know, Corcoran State Prison or wherever these hearings are held every few years and relive the whole thing and go through all of the vilification. I'm sure they get threats from the crazy people who follow Charlie Manson. But, you know, what they're saying is another thing that's in her favor now is
and of course, Manson's still alive, so it's you know, that's another crazy thing.
He's still in Corcoran State Prison. I don't know if you heard the story about what happened when Phil Spector reported to Corcoran State Prison several years ago. Because you remember Phil Spector was waving his gun around when he was drunk in his mansion in Alhambra, and he had taken the greeter from House of Blues, Lana Clarkson, to his home. And allegedly he'd been getting drunk and waving guns at women and kind of threatening them for years. And 5 such women testified at his trial. It actually took 2 trials to convict him. The first one was hung. Judge Fiddler televised both trials wall to wall. Wasn't any kind of O.J. circus. It worked great. So anyway, what happened with respect to Phil Spector is that he is convicted and he's sent to Corcoran State. And you may remember, maybe you reported on this too, because he had the big bucks, he could pay for security to have him bust down to Toluca Lake to have dental work done by his dentist, who was in Toluca Lake and was not about to go up to Corcoran State Prison. But the punchline of the story is that the very first day that Phil Spector reports to prison, there's a knock on his cell, and the guard hands him a note, and he says, "The note's from Mr. Manson." And the note says, Mr. Spector, I am such a fan of yours. You know, I'm kind of a musician myself.
Right.
You know, that's Charlie Manson fashioned himself a musician. I would love to get together and talk about music. Now, how would that be for your first day in prison to get a personalized note from Charles Manson?
I'd like to be a bug on the wall with a conversation of what that would be. We should broadcast that thing, you know, just for...
Yeah, but it'd be pretty weird.
Yeah, and by the way, there is a connection between the two of them, the Beach Boys. If I remember correctly, did he know somebody with the Beach Boys, Manson? And then, of course, Phil Spector produced some Beach Boys records.
The story I heard is that Brian Wilson picked Charles Manson up hitchhiking in the San Fernando Valley, and they started to talk. Manson wormed his way into a couple of parties.
Yeah, he did.
That's how he met Doris Day's son, Terry Melcher. That's how he grew to dislike Melcher, which came to his decision to have him killed. So life is pretty weird. My question, though, Ken Jeffries, is there concierge service at Corcoran State Prison? How is it that you can just hand a note? My good man, hand this note to Phil Spector, please. I'd like to get together with Phil. Maybe we can talk a little music. Very weird. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we're going to talk about DACA and Baca. The Dreamers story was huge in the news today and this week. This is Royal Oak. Stay with us.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show.
Aloha! Experience Experience your home away from home being beachfront at the Kaanapali Beach Hotel. Begin your getaway relaxing on over 11 acres of tropical Hawaiian gardens at Hawaii's most Hawaiian hotel. Voted Best Aloha Spirit by Hawaii Magazine readers. Just walking around the grounds with all the tropical vegetation, relaxing poolside, or kicking back in the sun on the world-renowned Kaanapali Beach makes you feel like you're home in paradise. There's a package to fit all your needs. Wedding, honeymoon, activities, private parties, great food, or just good old beach fun. The hotel perpetuates the Hawaiian tradition at its best. Call 661-0011 or visit kbhmaui.com.
Kaanapali Beach Hotel, Maui's Hawaiian Hotel.
Credit cards are sure fun to use, perhaps a little addicting, and they kind of make you feel rich. Well, if you're like most Americans, you've got over 5 maxed out credit cards in your pocket right now, and you can barely make the minimum payments, right? I'd like to personally recommend a company called DebtHelper.com. DebtHelper.com is a licensed and insured nonprofit debt management agency. They can help cut your interest rates by as much as 50% and lower your monthly payments, saving you thousands of dollars in finance charges on your credit card bills. DebtHelper.com does not lend money. Debt Helper's program could have you paying off your credit card debt in full in a 3 to 5 year period. Call DebtHelper.com right now for your free confidential consultation today. 866-706-3328. 866-706-3328. 866-706-3328. Credit Card Management Services, Inc. DBA DebtHelper.com. 1325 North Congress Avenue, number 201, West Palm Beach, Florida, 33401. Down payment of debt may be creditors to increase finance and other charges or undertake collection activity, including litigation.
Shine on me, sunshine, walk with me, world, it's a skippity-doo-dah day. I'm the happiest girl in the whole USA.
This is Royal Oaks. This is Royal Oaks Show with Ken Jeffries. And, it's just not fair. We play these songs. We ask you to guess, and we actually include some crucial lyrics.
Don't play the song title in the time. The song.
Engineer Jose is running the board here. It's not
girl.
Okay, so you're going to guess that the name of the song is.
Yeah, I know who did it too. It was Donna Fargo.
Donna Fargo, exactly
and
right.
I'll tell you, and
Very
happiest
good, very
girl in the whole USA. And the reason why I know that is, real quick, I used to work in Thousand Oaks. In Thousand Oaks, there was a woman there who was a pioneer of the city. Her name was Donna Fargo.
Really?
Unrelated to the singer.
Oh, that's weird.
So she called herself because and the song was a hit around the same time. So what we did was we called her Donna Conejo Fargo in honor of the Conejo Valley, which is where Thousand Oaks is and all of that. I worked at KGOE in Thousand Oaks, a station that does not exist anymore because the land was more valuable than the towers, as it turned out.
Well,
that's what happens with AM radio when they bulldoze the towers.
So you had an unfair advantage on that little
so I'm sorry.
question.
Yeah.
Anyway. The Dreamers story was huge this week, Ken, and I know you reported on it for KBC. And a lot of people are scratching their head. They're wondering what's going on. You got Trump, Mr. Hardliner on immigration. We're going to build the wall, and Mexico's going to pay for it, and we're going to get rid of this Dreamer DACA program. And to give people the background, it was so weird. President Obama, for several years, gave many speeches apologizing to his hard-line supporters, Democrats, progressives on the immigration angle, saying to them, you folks have to understand how this government works. I can't make immigration policy. Congress does that. I'm trying to talk sense to Congress. And after doing this for a couple of years, he finally says in 2012, you know what? I'm kind of tired of the Congress doing nothing. I'm going to enact a regulation. I'm going to create the policy, and the policy is going to be if kids are dragged to this country and they're under 18 and it wasn't their idea, then doggone it, they're going to be allowed as long as they go to school and they get a degree or they're in the military and they stay out of trouble and so on, then they can stay and get renewable 2-year periods. Well, a lot of folks didn't like that either for the procedural reason that, hey, that's a legislative job, it's executive overreach, or on the substantive side, a lot of hardliners said, you know what, these folks are illegal. Yeah, they're kids, but the parents were illegal. So now Trump comes along and he gets rid of the program, but it was weird, wasn't it, for him to say, right, I want Congress to look into it and fix it, and I will revisit it in 6 months. Did that make sense?
Yeah, this is what you and I discussed this on KABC, for those of you who listen to that radio station, and I think what you were saying was how can he revisit it if it's, he's accusing Obama of overreach?
Exactly.
And this would be would this be the same thing if he revisited it and decided to reinstate it or something like that?
That's right. And so it doesn't really make sense for Trump to be threatening to revisit it as if he'll have, maybe a modified version of the executive overreach that he's been objecting to for a long time. But a lot of people think that, maybe the Democrats and the Republicans will start compromising, reaching across the aisle. There was a conservative group in the U.S. Senate a few weeks ago before this decision came out from the president where they were going to kind of tighten it up but still have a Dreamer program of sorts to recognize the fact that these were children. And, some of them are getting up into their 30s because they're extending and renewing the privilege. But I think there's room for compromise. But, the success of the Democrats in going after Trump in the courts, starting with the travel ban lawsuits in January, it has not been lost on the Democrats because immediately we've already seen a couple of lawsuits, including one by UC President Napolitano, filed just yesterday.
That's right.
A federal court lawsuit in United States District Court for the Northern District of California up in San Francisco, challenging the right of the president to get rid of the Dreamer program. And it's kind of weird. They're saying that, they violated the administrative procedures that are required and people have due process requirements. I think that this is doomed, this lawsuit. I mean, it's possible they'll have a receptive judge in the Northern District and, of course, the Ninth Circuit. A lot of people are critical of it. They say, it's a little too progressive. So maybe that this lawsuit will get lucky, but I don't think it's going to succeed because essentially what Trump is saying is, okay, Obama implemented a regulation, I'm undoing it. And I think the president has unfettered right to do that. But, some people, some lawyers on the other side are saying, it was too abrupt. It denied people their due process rights.
It might, that they could find, I guess, a sympathetic judge that might agree with that, but don't know yet. And so it throws a lot of people, like with the transgender ban in the military, it throws a lot of stuff up in the air. If you're a transgender in the military, and what do? I mean, are you out? Are you in? What's going on? And the other thing is regarding DACA is, and I don't know if maybe you thought of it too, and you probably have. Why is it so hard to become a U.S. citizen? This is the basic, the premise of all the DACA and all these other things. Is it that difficult to become? Maybe it is, and I just don't know because I was born in this country like you were. We don't have to worry about it. But,
well, there are hoops to be jumped through. But
how bad are these hoops that we have to have things like DACA and all of that, and people sneak across the border and are illegal in the first place.
Well, I think, and that's one of the subjects of the compromise the Senate might come up with. Hey, there's DACA and then there's BACA. You and I have talked about the BACA story a lot. Sheriff of Los Angeles County. A lot of people say, hey, the guy's got Alzheimer's. He's on appeal. Why put him in prison during his appeal? And yet the federal court judge has said, no, I don't think you've raised serious issues. I think that you should go to jail. And yet the Ninth Circuit, we're told by the LA Times reporting just yesterday, they've said, the Ninth Circuit is sitting on the question of whether he stays out on appeal. So we're going to have to see. He may be out for months and months.
You never know.
Well, yeah, I think the bottom line is a lot of people are wondering, is it really fair? I mean, this guy, his mind is going. The Alzheimer's is really creeping up on him.
And maybe they're trying to stretch it out. Maybe his attorneys are trying to do just that.
And that's what the federal judge is suspicious of. All right, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we're going to talk about the worst tender date ever. And also, they're going topless in Berkeley. It's going to be legal. This is the Royal Oak Show. Stay with us.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show. CRN listeners, when you come to Southern California, stop by a great restaurant, the Dresden Restaurant at 1760 North Vermont Avenue in Hollywood. Enjoy great entertainment, like the music of the legendary Marty and Elaine at the world-famous Dresden Restaurant. The Dresden was a location for the making of the movie Swingers. Now you can swing with stars Marty and Elaine. Plus, enjoy great food, too, like French onion soup, artichoke hearts, and many other great appetizers. Seafood, there's salmon, shrimp scampi, New Zealand orange roughy, halibut, Lake Superior whitefish, and specialties like veal, marsala, piccata, and parmigiana. Plus, we've got a great roast rack of lamb, chicken piccata, and cordon bleu, and pasta dishes, too. Steaks, filet, New York, Chateaubriand for two. Much more, too, including pork chops, prime rib of beef, and an incredibly extra large cut of prime rib. It's the Dresden Restaurant, open for lunch Monday through Saturday and dinner Monday through Sunday. Check us out at 1760 North Vermont Avenue or call 323-665-4294.
Hi everyone, this is Fred Dreyer with a big announcement. My new movie, Highway 395, has just been released. Don't miss this classic modern-day Western set along Highway 395 in California. It's an action thriller with some romance, too. You can own Highway 395 today by going to my brand new website, freddryer.co. That's freddryer.co. Get my new movie, Highway 395, and check out my new website, freddryer.co.
Do you want to fly somewhere, anywhere in the world? Smart travelers call myflightsearch.com for the best deals on flight tickets. Going to Manila, Bangkok, London, how about Singapore? Call myflightsearch.com for the lowest flight tickets available. What about a local vacation? Let's say you want to fly to Vegas, Orlando, Miami, Los Angeles, or Denver. Pick up the phone and call myflightsearch.com right now. We have exclusive deals that you can't find anywhere else. The only way you can get these low airline prices is by calling us. We have so many low prices available, we can't possibly tell them to you right here and now. If you're flying somewhere anytime in the next 6 months and you want the lowest airline ticket prices anywhere, you owe it to yourself to save a ton of money. So pick up your cell phone and call myflightsearch.com right now.
Call 800-445-3166. 800-445-3166. That's 800-445-3166. Call now. 800-445-3166.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Call right now and receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-785-9618. Donate your car today. That's 1-800-785-9618.
My mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. Got my mind set on you.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show. Our co-host Ken Jeffries, musicologist, former radio disc jockey. Once again, we're being real nice to you here, Ken. First question: do you know the name of this song?
It got my mind. Yeah, I think it's. I know who it is. I know who did it, but it's George Harrison.
There you go.
And I think it's. I think it's. I got my mind set on you.
It is. Yeah. He has some really good songs. I mean, when
great.
those guys broke up, it's kind of like Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin. I mean, they freed them both to have all these wonderful creative outlets. Yeah.
Sorry, that's Jerry Lewis.
But yeah, so in that way, it's terrible to lose the group. But George Harrison was amazing. And apparently, I'm no expert on this, but people said he was one of the most amazing guitarists on the planet.
Yeah, he was, and he was good friends, I understand, with Eric Clapton. I think didn't they share the same wife? They had the same wife or something.
Not at the same time.
No,
that
not
would
at the same
not
time.
be right.
I think he married. Okay. He married his ex-wife or some crazy thing, and anyway,
perhaps.
But George Harrison he invented the rock concert for a cause with a concert for Bangladesh back in 1971.
I didn't know that.
Yes, and at Madison Square Garden, and he goes and he says, and I can't imitate George, but he says, "Here's a friend of mine. I'd like to invite him on stage, Bob Zimmerman." And the place went nuts because it was Bob Dylan. You know? And during that concert, we don't have a lot of time here, but it was Leon Russell and Billy Preston and all those guys.
Well, let's move from Madison Square Garden to Berkeley, California, shall we?
Yeah,
we're up at Berkeley, and they're very progressive. And I want your sort of political philosophy on this, Ken Jeffries. Berkeley City Council is amending its nudity laws to let women go topless in public. It's an equal rights issue. Women up there are saying, hey, guys can walk around Berkeley with no shirt on. Why shouldn't women? It's just not right. Now, an interesting item in the story, I didn't realize it said prior to 94, it was legal for anybody to roam the streets of Berkeley in the buffo. They had no public nudity laws. I didn't realize that each city could do that, although I've heard parts of San Francisco have legalized nudity. They come and they go. The city council says, this quadrant of the city is closed free if you want. So I guess
do they have signs up. This is a nudist zone or something.
I guess so.
I never heard of that.
All right. So a lot of women are raising the question. It's about gender equality, gender nudity laws. So if you were king, Ken Jeffries, would you
It's gonna be
wave?
by the way,
would
it's
you
going to
wave
be the king. Yeah,
would
Mel
you
Brooks.
wave your wand and
Wave something,
and
never mind.
allow everybody to UFO?
No, I just
No, what are you, some kind of prude?
Yeah, keep your clothes on. I don't know.
But
I
don't you
have
think
to
there
see
is
it.
an equal rights issue? Why should gals have to cover up when the guys can walk around just like they're in Chippendales, huh?
Because, as Walter Cronkite used to say, that's the way it is. I'm getting conservative in my old age.
Well, now this proposed change, by the way, up at Berkeley, applies only to public streets. Private businesses could still refuse
Do whatever
service
you
to
want.
people not wearing shirts. So it'd be a little awkward, I guess. You're walking down the street in Berkeley, you're totally nude, and you will go into Starbucks, but you have to have a backpack in which you have a pair of shorts and a shirt because you can't get your latte.
Yeah, no shoes, no shirt, no service.
Exactly right. No clothes, no
No
service.
clothes, no nothing.
Yeah, so I guess they aren't talking about total nudity, but they are talking about toplessness. So if the city council makes this change, then a gal walking down Telegraph Avenue in Berkeley,
Telegraphing a lot, man.
Yes, if she wants to get into the Starbucks to get her latte, she's going to have a shirt. That's going to be a little weird, isn't it?
Yeah, no cover charge. No cover, no minimum, right?
Exactly right. Well, I think it's going to be fascinating to see if they make the change.
Do we have time for the Tinder date? I don't know if we
You
do.
know what, ladies and
We may have to
gentlemen,
wait.
we're going to have to wait till next week
Wait on that,
to let you know about the worst date ever. That'll be a nice incentive for folks to visit the Royal Oak Show next week because this worst Tinder date ever, you're not going to believe it. We had to go all the way to England to get this. We also didn't get time to go to the Oregon court ruling about what a judge did about dogs that incessantly barked year after
Well, that's
year.
right.
We're going to get to that next
Next
week
week.
as well. You're not going to believe what this judge did. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. Go to royaloaks.com or crntalk.com. Ken Jeffries, thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Enjoying all your favorite CRN programming is easier than ever. It's right on your TV, through your local cable provider, and on the web at crntalk.com. But when you're on the move, stuck in a plane, train, or in your car, catch up on all the shows you missed. Or listen live to your favorites. Download our CRN app from your iPhone, iPad, Android, or BlackBerry. Just search for CRN Digital Talk Radio. Or search for your favorite CRN shows on apps like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, AHA Radio, uTunes, and Nobex. Now you have access to all of our great shows anywhere in the world and the ability to be part of them by calling our toll-free studio line at 800-336-2225. For more information on where and how to listen, log on to crntalk.com and create your own listening experience today.
The radio channels. The radio channels. CRN.
It's time now for the Polka Party. This is Dick Sinclair. Welcome to the program, and away we go.
Such a feeling's coming over me. There is wonder in most everything I see. Not a cloud in the sky, got the sun in my eyes, and I won't be surprised if it's a dream. Everything I want the world to be is now coming true, especially for